All right, we are going to try to control this wild violet weed that I have. So you can never have a weed-free garden. The best thing that you can do is get it to a point where you can manage it better, where it's not going to take over your space and take control over you. So I feel like all of a sudden it's just went crazy. I just noticed in the last few years, when it is late winter, it will determine what weeds will come up quickly. So this year, it seems like the temperatures have been really good, really optimal for the wild violet. Now I know that I can get it to a point where I could manage it better because I have done it in the hillside garden over there. In the beginning, there used to be so many of them, so I was able to get it to, manageable amount. So now it's just this area right here behind me where it is getting out of control. So this is kind of like my first threshold where the flower bed is, or the garden bed is. The second threshold is just going to be here in the walkway. So anyway, it is creeping closer to this pathway. So let me turn the camera around and show you. First, I should have apologized. Our old AC unit is going off right now, and I tend to talk pretty soft, so I'll try to talk louder. So this is it. It produces beautiful pink purplish flower. So you can see it is all over here. We have some other weeds as well, like this one, which I forgot what it's called again. We have grass here, but mainly it's this wild violet that I'm concerned with, because according to my research, it spreads by rhizomes and it has crazy amount of seed dispersion if you allow it to go to flower and then have it set seeds later. So you can see it is prolific. You know that it is a weed when it is growing out of control. So all of this area is filled with this weed and some other weeds too, but mainly I'm concerned with this particular one. Let's dig. So when I dig, I'll usually go, oh, it is kind of hard to dig. And again, I just need my trowel. So usually I see this bulb right here. So it's a possibility that the roots will spread and then create another plant, which is what is maybe happening here. So usually I just pull that, making sure that I get this bulb, and usually that's all that I do, and it's been working out for me. It could be that I just been, catching all of the different ones, and that's all that I needed. You don't have any more spreading over there. So anyway, when you do take this out, make sure that you take this whole part out, the bulb. Otherwise, you're going to miss it and it's going to grow, it's going to sprout again. So what I do, because that is my second threshold where the pathway is, so I'll look to see if there's any of them there. I will pull that out too, but mainly I'll focus right around here, because if I don't, guess what's going to happen? Like that one is going to creep over to the pathway. So we'll start with the edges and work our way towards the outside. So I'm going to set a timer for 1 hour because that's all that I have today. So I'll set the camera around so you can see how much this whole area can be weeded in 1 hour. If you are interested, if you have crazy weeds like I do here, or if you like to see what 1 hour of weeding can accomplish. All right, it's been an hour now, and I feel like an hour well spent. Did a lot of weed pulling out over here. So I cleared out a lot. Wanted to show you this while I was weeding that I noticed. So while I was weeding, saw some of them, not a lot, have these bloom buds. And I believe it's bloom bud because it's kind of purplish, and because it has purplish pinkish flower. So just in time, because you do not want these to go to flower and then set seed later, because it's going to spread everywhere. So let me show you what I've done. So pretty much just around this area. Look at that. Pulled all of these, pull some of them out from there. So at the edges, it was covered with them. So had to move some of the fencing back. So we'll fix that later. So they concentrated around here because there's moisture. The growth was so big too, so the plant was bigger around there. So I never got to that because time was up. And these are all the dead ones. I got a couple of piles right underneath there as well. So in 1 hour, you can get this much done. I would say, what, like 6 feet that way, 6, 12, maybe 18 feet, 6 by 18 feet in square footage. So I'm very proud, and unfortunately some of them was not able to pull up all of the bulbs. The soil is quite dry, so it was harder to dig sometimes. Some areas were drier than others, so that was the reason for not pulling some of them completely out. With this weed, it doesn't seem to matter whether you have mulch or not. It just seems like it grows out of the mulch. So I am hoping that these lamb's ears, my go-to plants for coverage, hopefully those will get bigger soon and will cover a lot of the real estate all around this area here. Had to pull some of them out from here too, because the pathway here is supposed to be a pathway, is the threshold, and it was already on this side. I do not want it to cross over into the playground area. So the veteran gardeners will say, in order to, prevent as many weeds as possible, we just need to cover up the ground with mulch. But I think they would agree that more importantly, we need to have more plants. Ground cover, whatever, but the bed needs to be covered with lots of plants, so that way it's harder for the weeds to compete. Otherwise, we're just going to be pulling weeds until our plants have matured and have covered this area really well. Even with mulch will only help so much, but weeds that have, for example, tap roots, weeds that are able to grow through the mulch, they will not be affected by the mulch at all. The take-home message is to just stay on top of weeding until you have more plants in your beds. Stay on top, and if at all possible, do not let them go to flower. And the perennial weeds are worse. And I think this is a perennial weed because if I recall, I do see them in the winter too. Maybe not as many, but they definitely grow very fast during around this time of the season. So annual weeds, you know that they'll just set seeds and then they just die off. But perennial weeds, they just stick around all 12 months of the year. But I would say to stay on top, get it to where it's manageable for you. Sometimes you might have to do it more than one time, more than 2 times, more than 3 times. And with this, I feel like I would have to do it more than 5 or 6 times because they were coming from outside here, the lawn area. So it's hard to see what they're doing, and if we don't stay on top of mowing, for example, and because they're low to the ground, sometimes we don't mow until the grass is taller. So you can see they're just hanging out on the outskirts here. And what I do notice is that they're on this side too. So I don't know what to do. I would hate to spray, but sometimes that may be what you have to do. So I pulled some of them already from here, but I can't see without my glasses, so see far that is, but I'm pretty sure they're around here as well. So if I can get them to not go to flower, that will be good. And then of course setting seeds later, maybe I'll just use the weed eater and prevent them from getting bigger so that they won't go to seeds. So anyway, they're already on this side, unfortunately. They like to hang out where the moss is. That's what I noticed. So they will grow through the moss. As you can see, there are lots of moss here, and along with other weeds, see that? They just grow through it. You see that? They're just all over. So it's just hard to, there's no way that I would be coming out here to weed. Maybe I can use a weed eater and hoping that they would eventually go away. But unfortunately, it seems like it's going to be a long battle with this weed. So don't want it to sound depressing, but it may be, unfortunately. Well, I think that is it for this video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Hopefully it was interesting and it was informative for you to learn about this weed a little bit better. And if you have the same thing, now you know that you just need to pull, get all the bulb, the roots. As far as I know, I never noticed, it's spreading by rhizome. I could be wrong. Maybe I just been staying on top of it in the other beds that I have managed better. I don't know. All I know is I pull them out by the bulb and they seem not to come back. And then I'll see them somewhere else just because maybe they're just somewhere else. I don't know. Or they flower somewhere and they spread over there. Who knows? Who knows? But I know that they can be managed because I have done it And hopefully this is not going to take me more than 5 times to get rid of it enough so it can be better managed. So anyway, thank you again. If you're new here, my name is Terry. Welcome to my channel. And if you are returning, thank you for coming along again and watching this video as well. So with that, I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye for now.